200 people. 200 people. Hello. Hello, everybody. Debra Silverman coming to you from Uranus. I'm at the headquarters. It looks a lot like Earth, but I know it's not. I have a bridge that goes between the worlds, and today I decided to come over to Earth so I could talk to you from Uranus because there's some new information that's going to get downloaded. I've been paying attention to the planets and their movements, and I can see the Earth from where I look. I can look down and see your planet represents crazy in our system. It's not funny. Like, oh, my Earth is in Taurus. That's its natural placement. But when you get Earth in Scorpio, it's not good. I made that up. But the truth is, I do feel like a bridge between worlds. I do feel like my function this lifetime is to be the observer and to be the astrologer. And I'm inviting all of you to come join me. The star community is part of what is our on the front of my thought process. Our school is in full bloom, and we're having the best time watching people learning astrology. And it's been like the privilege of privileges for me is to be able to watch somebody come into the school not knowing anything. And then by the end of 6 and then 12 weeks and then 3 months, they're actually doing readings and getting paid. So that's the big pictures, and it only launches twice a year. The big project, I should say, is the school. That's in September and then again in February, January, February. But right now what we're launching is the starcommunity.com. So I want you all to write that down. And then I want you to Google it. Go on the starcommunity.com and you'll see what we're doing. It was a combined effort. It was a team sport. I think it started with Dan Austin. I think that was you that started this whole thing. His wife is a passionate astrology student, and then by osmosis and intimate pleasures, he became fascinated with astrology. And then the next thing that happened was the thoughts started to percolate. And then my good friend Chris Roy and his beautiful wife Rose and their son, who I feel like is family, we suddenly created a constellation. If you look at your world and you look around, you'll see that you're in constellations, whether it's your family unit that you came in when you were born, and there's different people playing a role, but they become like a little hub. And then you look at your community at large, like where do you live in the town that you live in? Or like right now is a Jewish holiday today. It's Happy New Year, and synagogues everywhere are celebrating the New Year. So then you look at the synagogue that you're in, and these are our pods. These are our churches that we go to, or the schools that we go to, and the star community is another pod. So I have my people in my pod that dream with me, and this has been going on throughout my whole life. I've always been a community person. I've always had a very high value for community. Why? Because I always knew from a young person that the planet would get to this point. I've been waiting. I hate to say this, but I've been waiting and waiting for this much to occur. Like yesterday was this crazy earthquake in Mexico City that was 7.2. And then was it 2 weeks ago, they had a 8.2 in Mexico, in the southern part of Mexico. And we've had these hurricanes and floods and the fires. And this is exactly what the prophets predicted. What the prophets have left open-ended, and this is part of our star community, what we're going to do together is we're going to be the community that watches. Like, if you can imagine what I started off with, that I'm sitting at this precipice, or I'm a bridge between Uranus headquarters and here. An astrologer once did tell me that I work for Uranus. You know, I wish it was called something else. I'd like to change the name of Uranus, but it's kind of a good name because it represents this alternate reality where we're in the future. And Uranus, why it rules astrology, the planet Uranus rules astrology. And to be perfectly honest, it's sitting on Trump's sun. When he was born, Uranus and the sun were at the same spot. It only happens once a year. Every single day, the sun moves 1 degree around the circle. And Uranus stays in one spot for about 7 to 8 years. The day that he was born, the sun was moving in exact degrees. So he is doing what the Uranian flavor is that I'm speaking about, which is that I'm the headquarters. I'm one of the operating chiefs there, is that it's here to bring us the future. And it comes with disruption. It comes with radical change. And that's what we're up against right now. So at this moment, Uranus is in Aries. Carrie, can you see when it moves into Taurus? I think it's like in a month or two. So I'm here to shake people up. Look what Trump does. Don't judge him for a minute. Stay with me in this helicopter. That's what the whole star community is. We're going to be helicopter drivers. We're going to stay slightly above the earth, and we're going to look back at it. We're not going to judge, but we're going to pay attention to the cycles that we're in. And there is no question that Uranus it's about to change signs, and Carrie's going to tell us what it's been for the last, I want to say the last 10 years, it's been in Aries. So it's been shaking up the male identity. Aries is the male energy. Uranus is the planet of radical change and shift. And we're in this departure from the male. It used to be that men ruled this world and they were the head of everything, and they were the presidents, and they were the doctors, and they were the astrologers. There was no women astrologers ever. Men ruled everything. So 2026, is that, Carrie, when it shifts? So
no, sorry, that was when it leaves. It's going to be there May 15th, 2018.
That's when it changes.
Right.
Yeah. And can you see when it started, when it entered Aries? So in 2018, we're going to have another change with Uranus. So there's two things happening on the planet right now that are very significant. One is changing in December, and one is changing in May. December of this year, Saturn's going to change signs. And in May of next year, Uranus is going to change signs. And that's a very significant marker. So I'm going to go back to Uranus for a minute. It is really the planet. I wish I had a bumper sticker that my favorite planet's Uranus. Let me describe it for you, just to give you beginners a sense of it. It was found in 1780 by a man named William Herschel. It was the first time that someone could detect its presence. And it was found right during the French Revolution. So 1780, like that whole era from the 1775 through 1780, the French Revolution was occurring. There was this huge departure where the very expensive, wealthy beings in France, who were called the bourgeoisie, were thrown upside down by the proletariat. The heads were being cut off, and the government was being completely radically abandoned. So think about revolutionary energy appearing on planet Earth in a very radical way, and that's when America began. So think about it in terms of this. All these people living in England, living in the maintaining status quo. The class structure is everything in England. The Queen told everyone what to do. There was no freedom of speech. It was a very limited construction of the society because it was all based on the male patriarch. So all of a sudden, this planet Uranus is the first time we ever conceived of it and saw it and detected it. At that moment, revolution occurred. People left in boatloads from England. A lot of Germans, by the way. There was an incredible influx of Germans and English and British, of all kinds, Scottish, coming to America on these boats, all pissed off and revolutionists. Like, we're not, like, think of it right now. Just help me for a minute and stay with your imagination since we're talking about Uranus. Think of right now, which is about to happen, my prediction. It shifts, as Carrie just told us, it shifts in May of 2018 into a new sign. It's going to enter Taurus. But since Uranus entered Aries 7 years ago, it was in 2011. And I'm going to tell you what else happened at that point, because Pluto also entered Capricorn. So there's a lot of transition that went on. But let's first finish Uranus. So you think about this time in history when an entire culture left its own land, where it was well established, it had reached a peak. Think England reaching a peak of society. It then abandons and comes across this body of water to a brand new land. And they throw the tea over the boat and say, no, we're not paying the Queen. We're done with this. We're done with that old system. And they arrive here, and unfortunately, their behavior around the people that lived here was more indication of their old system. The old patriarch took over and disrespected the land of people that lived here. Nonetheless, the revolution began. And then these pioneers started, and they went off and covered all this land in America that had never been covered before. And they paved in streets, and they put in towns, and they created a government. So I want you to think 1770, it was really, what we're going to talk about today is Uranus at that time in 1775 was in Aries. So now Uranus is in Aries again the last 7 years. And the other interesting thing that was happening at that point was Pluto was in Capricorn. Sorry, Uranus was not in Aries at that point. But what was similar to 1775, this is the next piece. So first, let's finish Uranus. Right now, we are under the effect, and President Trump is a great symbol of it, of a radical departure from society as it was, the government not working, a worn out, tired system that no longer serves us. And you can't get the millennials to vote, and you can't, there's this real distaste we all have now, because as soon as we saw, it started with Nixon, but as soon as when Bush got elected and we didn't know if the actual voting was real, there's been so much disbelief and so much disappointment that's occurred in the government. And so when Pluto entered Capricorn, so that was Uranus. Let's leave Uranus over there. Uranus is in focus, one, because of our president, two, because it plays a very major role in the America's chart. We are radical, non-traditionalists that broke the order from England, that came across from Germany. My family came across from Russia, entered this land, and thought there was this opportunity from the future. Uranus called our name, like, you're going to go into the future, you're going to leave behind your culture, you're not going to speak your language, everyone's going to come here and speak English, and we're going to start a new society that says you can do whatever you want. That's Uranus. The best of Uranus is astrology. Like, who believes in this stuff? Why would you believe that you can use your mind to include the planets to describe who you are? I mean, it's such a radical thought. It never ceases to amaze me. Does Pluto ever get along with Uranus? No, they don't get along, and then you'll see why. So at this point in history, let's just first begin by saying the overlay or the umbrella of our conversation today has to do with Uranus. And Uranus is changing signs in May. And for the last 7 years, it's been in Aries. And what it means for the last 7 years is Aries is male energy and Uranus is radical change. So let's just start with that. The last 7 years, the male role model, from government to men to the role that men play in our society, has been like, women are saying, no, I'm not going to let men. I mean, my whole organization, to the exception of Chris and Dan, is all women. And all these women that I meet say they only want to work with women. I hear it so often. It's kind of sad. But there's a quality of excitement for women, because Uranus went through Aries and said, like we said to the Queen, don't pay her. We want to disregard men and say, women, you can use your power. Don't let anyone tell you what to do. You're free to be yourself. But that's just disrespectful, because we don't want to throw up the baby in the bathwater. But yes, sisterhood is running rampant. And that's what our star community, I can guarantee you right now, in my school, for example, we've had more than 1,000 students that have gone through my school. And I'm going to say 95% of them are women. So Uranus in the last 7 years has said to women, go online and become a yoga instructor and put yourself on a yoga journal, or go online and become a coach and put your face on your website and go online. So holy geez, there's been a lot of movement, and thank goddess, that we're now speaking about the feminine principle as being a godhead. It's not just God as a male. So good news, radical change. And now Uranus, get this, is entering a female sign. As of May of 2018, it enters Taurus. Haha. I'm Uranian, said Chris Roy. Pluto scares me that I exploded in spirit. Who is that? That couldn't possibly be Chris Roy.
It's not Chris. We have a whole bunch of people in here that are named Chris. Just a glitch.
But it says Chris Roy.
I know, but it's just how they joined. It's not really, though.
That makes me laugh. Like, Chris Roy doesn't even speak astrology. Okay, so he's one of the guys running our star community, thestarcommunity.com. Hi, Chris. So let's talk about, we finished with Uranus. It just went through Aries. We've had 7 years of rewriting the definition of the male energy. And if anyone here has not seen that, if any of you can look around at your husbands, your boyfriends, your brothers, your sons, we are rewriting the nature of malehood. It does not have the same flavor. That's Uranus and Aries. So in the name of the star community, it's about to enter Taurus. We're going to have our star community. Uranus rules astrology because it's so radical. Uranus is so radical. They say that if you see Uranus, sounds so funny, it's a big giant storm. Like, it's huge winds and it's huge uproar. And it's like this, like the visuals that they've seen from the Hubble of Uranus, is this like insane, radical, bizarre. Woo! In the tarot deck, Uranus is the Fool card. Like, he's jumping off a cliff, not knowing where to go, but just trusting that he won't land on rocks when he lands. So Uranus is it's the Fool. It's the innocence of trusting so much that you let go. Okay. Yes, 10 degrees is close enough to be considered a conjunction. That would be a yes. So there goes the patriarch. And in comes the matriarch. Thank you, Dan. And so there's this generosity of men now to say to women, you know what? You do have power and you do have an opinion and you should be voting. And for God's sake, why do we ever exclude you to start with? And you've got a great opinion. And by the way, you smell better, you look better, you take great care of the kids. Women, the new improved version, they have multiple orgasms. How about that? Okay. So women are now in this new radical entrance, and Uranus in May is going to enter Taurus. It's going to be there for another 7 years. And there was something that occurred. I want to go now over to Pluto. I want to go backwards. In 2010, for the first time in 200 and some years, Pluto entered Capricorn, and it's going to stay there until 2020. Is that right, Carrie? Pluto leaves Capricorn in 2020.
I'll find out.
What?
I'll find out.
Yes. No, you did tell me. Here it is. Pluto, it's 2023. So it entered in 2008. Pluto entered Capricorn in 2008, and it leaves in 2023. So it's there for a long time. Now let's take a break. So let's leave Pluto over here. You're going to learn about this in the star community and certainly in the school. But I want to give, this is the kind of information we're going to be giving you in the star community. You're going to learn astrology online, but small bite-sized bits. So let's just review. Uranus rules Aquarius. Uranus is the planet of radical departure. It's had its effect on men. It's got President Trump on his head. It's a strong influence of radical change. Don't follow the rules. Don't do business as usual. It's very disruptive. It's the fool. It's jumping off cliffs. And it's a radical departure from the old world. We are in the middle of the effect of Uranus. And it just finished 7 years dealing with male energy. It just broke down and dismantled the male energy. Yes. Okay. Then comes Pluto. We're going to talk about Pluto for a minute. Pluto in 2008 entered Capricorn. Pluto is very different than Uranus, but they're cousins. Pluto talks about transformation. It's the furthest planet out. We can't see it with the human eye. It only got detected in the 30s. They just found it recently. The astronomers tried to demote it. I don't know why, because it rules the shadow. We didn't want to deal with it. But Pluto is like, it's the sign of the cocoon where the caterpillar goes into the cocoon and he eats his own organs. And then when he comes back out, he's a butterfly. So he goes through what's called transformation. Pluto is transformation. And it's in the sign of Capricorn, the government. And it's been there and it's going to continue to be there since 2008. The cocoon, we are the government, all on the whole planet, by the way. This is not exclusive to the United States. The Plutonian energy is demanding everybody revisit their old story and change and transform and consume so they can reestablish a different form. Well, you put Uranus and Pluto together. So Pluto's been in Pluto's been in Capricorn. Uranus has been in Aries, and they've been squaring. This has been the effect. Now, the answer to the question today that we posed at the beginning of this webinar is, why is the planet so crazy right now? Pluto and Uranus over the last, strongly in 2010, Pluto in Capricorn, Uranus in Aries, they were squaring each other. So when you ask that question, someone asks, how does Pluto and Uranus get along? They don't, because they've been squaring. In astrology, when there's two planets at 90 degrees, they don't get along. The good news is, and you're going to hear about this in the star community, is I've been doing the monthly glance. There's some very positive influences starting to come in the new year, 2018. This is what the star community is going to help us with, seeing the trend, watching the trend from the big picture, and certainly from your personal story. But if we look at the collective, which I'm fascinated by, we see that we have been in a very disrupted cycle. Uranus and Pluto not getting along. Uranus, radical change, electricity, it rules. They found it when they found electricity. It's like this. And Pluto was found when they found nuclear power. So electricity and nuclear power not getting along. And some of you, even this week, the last 2 weeks, so many people have written me and said, what is going on? And we're going to show you the chart today before we finish of what's been going on the last 2 weeks. But since 2008, it's been 9 years where our society is breaking. And every empire that breaks on the other side, just like England. Just like what happened in 1770s when it built up, the society built up, it peaked, and then it fell. Well, America is on the decline. But it doesn't mean we're being destroyed. It doesn't mean we're going to be broken. It means that we're dismantling the old forms that certainly weren't serving us. The bad news is we don't have new forms in place, but there are enough of us who are going to stand up and say, hey, you're not going to deport that person because they got vetted and you don't like them, or you're not going to take away climate control because you think it doesn't exist. We're going to start speaking up. And it's going to elicit this whole Uranus-Pluto, this whole radical electrical charge, this whole unbelievable earthquakes and hurricanes and floods. It's all making us go, whoa, we are in the days that were predicted by the prophets. And part of the value of the star community, which is $22 a month starting Friday, we still have you can get grandmothered in. I like saying grandmothered instead of grandfathered in for $197 right now. So you can have a whole year subscription to the star community, where every month I will send you videos like this. We'll have a conversation and you'll send in your questions and I'll pay attention to your questions. So the world is shaking up. And you know what? I want you to have peace of mind, Lori. I want you guys to know that this was predicted by the prophets. But the scary part, the good news is we're here studying this and we're learning about it. We know that Pluto and Uranus had a fight. And we know we're at the effect of the electrical energy. And Pluto is this powerful, destructive energy that needs to get focused. When Pluto energy is focused, it gives us power. So now let's fast forward. Pluto's going to change in 2023. Let's leave that over there. This May, in 2018, Uranus leaves the male energy. It's so funny how astrology works. It goes from male to female. Every single time a sign changes, every single time it goes from one sign to the next, it's always male, female, male, female, male, female, male, female. So 7 years it's been in the male energy of disrupting the male and inviting in the female. Now it's going to go into the female energy. Uranus is going to go into Taurus. And Taurus rules the earth and it rules women. So yes, exactly. Everybody says Chris Wright, so funny. Diana, I want it to be interactive. We will definitely have interactive on the star community. That would be my first choice, just like this. So nuclear family, everything's going to change. I am a Taurus, said Chris. Chris, everybody thinks they're you, so I'm not sure if that's you, but yes, you are. Uranus is going to go into Taurus as of May. If you're an early degree Taurus, if you're born, let's say you're born on April 22nd to April 25th, from May through the summer, through July, August, you're going to feel this. This is what astrology teaches us. It gives us pre-warning, gives us foresight into what's coming. There you go, Michelle. So be prepared. Nothing is wrong. It's not like, I hate when people come to see me and they go, what's wrong with my chart? Oh my God, something's coming to get me. Pluto's coming to get me. God did not have a bad day when she made you. Every single person here is divinely orchestrated by an incredible matrix called astrology. You weren't a mistake and no one pushed you on the bus. You chose to come down here. You were given an assignment. And I am working in the headquarters of Uranus telling you that I'm going to share with you some of the insights and the language for you to understand your assignment. Because unfortunately, while they did give you the assignment, they unfortunately didn't give you the fine print. They just assumed you'd figure it out. That's why I'm here. So when I say male and female, I don't mean men and women. Very good question. I mean the male energy of being assertive and aggressive, and the old patriarch that said, listen to me, tell me what to do. It's kind of that old male when I say masculine. And when I speak to the female, I'm talking about the part of us that is more receptive and more surrendered and more willing to flow and smells better. Just kidding. I love men. I'm not saying anything bad about either one. But I'm saying it's the yin yang without judging either one. That's right, Diane Miller. So let's go back to May of 2018. Here comes Uranus. It's going to spend 7 years in Taurus. We're going to have a revisit to all the Taurus topics: money, security, home base, nuclear family, familiarity. We're going to have a revisiting to what is that energy. So just be forewarned. There's 428 people here. You're all interested in learning astrology because you know that Uranus is having its way with us, that the form and the structure as we knew it is being dismantled, and you personally have to figure out your chart to know what you're going to do to help make the transition. Because if you are part of the problem because you're complaining and you're scared and you're negative and you can't remember why you're here and you're so disappointed in your fate and your destiny's disappointed you and you can't believe you ended up where you were, what value are you? So part of why you join the star community is to get into this conversation of what can I do in my life based on my chart? So every month we're going to talk about that sign. And if you guys listen, I did this coolest thing. If you go to starcommunity.com/Virgo, So it's the star community, it's 3 words, thestarcommunity.com/Virgo. You'll see a free video. You'll get an example of what we're producing to teach you astrology. So that's the free one. There's also a free interview. It's thestarcommunity.com/Dr. Northrup, Northrup. That is another example of what you're going to get from the star community. So we have for you very concrete ways, and this is what we're going to provide for you every single month. You're going to get 4 videos. One will be on the new moon. One will be the whole moon, the new moon, the full moon. You're going to get update on when there's retrogrades, Mercury's retrograde, or there's an eclipse. You're going to get an interview like the one with Dr. Northrup, where you're going to hear about, there's the link right there in your chat room, thestarcommunity.com, Dr. Northrup, where somebody famous is going to speak. In fact, here's the news, you guys. If you get inside now, Shailene Woodley, who was just up for an Emmy last week or 2 nights ago, she's doing the Scorpio interview. So the last interview, Libra, was with the senator's wife, who's doing a attempt to bridge in Libra the Republicans and Democrats. And during Scorpio, it's with a movie star, she hates when I call her that, that talks about sexuality, intimacy, and how you deal with Scorpio topics. So we're going to have incredibly interesting conversations. And you're going to get a full moon, a new moon, a interview with somebody that's super interesting, a montage, like you'll see the Virgo one, of the name of that sign. And then, yes, we'll be doing question and answers. We'll be doing some things like this, where we do webinars and you get to ask me questions. So the sale membership value is this in-depth per month, where you're going to get really good, deep information. There'll be live workshops. There's an artistic archetype video. How many of you saw the Virgo archetype video? Did any of you see that's watching this? The star, oh, you did. Oh, you're making me so happy. Oh, thank you, Carolyn. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Okay. It was great. I posted it on Facebook. Wow. Woo! It's fantastic. And I shared it with all my friends. You're making my heart sing. Oh, Nikki, Diana, thank you. Okay, that worked. So you can share with anybody. It's free. There it is. If you missed it, holy geez. All right. Then you're going to get a lot of content, life-changing. That's what you're going to get each month. Does that make sense? Whoa. Lashana Tova. Happy New Year for all my Jewish friends. Back to Uranus and Pluto. You guys, this is the thing for me that makes me worried about our society. We're so concerned about the self. We're so narcissistic. It's not our fault. It's how we're designed. We get, when I do these videos and I look in the mirror and I have to have the camera on and my ego goes crazy. Like even right now, the reason why I can't see, this is not a Facebook Live, but I don't like doing Facebook Lives. I have to hold my phone in front of my face and look at myself the whole time. We are an ego-centered society, but the star community is saying 2 things. You have to deal with your ego with your soul sitting next to you. It's all good to have an ego if it's serving the soul. How do you get to the bank and get the right bank account if you don't have an ego? You don't know your name. You have to you don't know what to eat in the morning. It's got to be the right food that you don't want. If you don't like ketchup and they put mustard, your ego's going to go, I'm not eating that. So you've got to have an ego to make sure you get the right food. But then the next part of the story is, how do we help the collective? It's not enough that Debra Silverman is having fun. I mean, and to tell you the honest truth, my personal life right now is about 0. Between the membership in the school and those astrology answers videos, I am coming together with you and I'm making my life about you and about our planet, because honestly, and I knew this was going to happen. I knew that my personal story was less important than my community, that this is why the community is so important. And the more of us that join together in this platform, thestarcommunity.com, the more of us that join, the better I feel. Because I know numbers, you guys, we need numbers. We need 1 million people studying astrology. We need everyone having compassion for Trump. I know it's the hardest thing for those that don't like Trump, and it's the hardest thing for the people that do like Trump. that they have to listen to everybody hitting them on the head. And I know one likes to hear me say it because I understand people can't stand him. But if the star community can just learn the muscle called the observer, where we step back and we just say, listen, you guys, stop. Like, it makes me want to cry. I'm so worried that people's opinions, this is Uranus squaring Pluto, what happened. I'm so thankful Uranus is going into Taurus in May, and that the energy is going to be more feminine than male, because we are so antagonistic. You know, this is the craziest story I'm going to tell you. This is a true story. Someone in my community died just like 5 days ago. A man named Bob, Gough, Bob Gough. I never say his name right. Bough. He was a lawyer for the American Indians, for the indigenous people, and worked in Washington. He lived in my home for several years as a housemate. Downstairs, I have a suite. Bob Gough, that's how you say it, Gough. Bob Gough spent his entire life in service to the American Indians' rights. He was a lawyer, and all he did I knew him. I lived in the house with him. I saw him. He had stacks and stacks and stacks of papers, which is why his room downstairs, his part of his house. He lived in an independent unit, but it was like, whew. He spent his entire life devoted to helping the indigenous people on our planet that live in America. And he passed away. It's sad, because he was so instrumental in making a difference on the planet. This is the craziest story you're going to hear. About 2 months ago, someone was in my home and we were talking briefly, and she was lovely, and she mentioned his name, and I said something funny about his personality, and there were some other people's names that were mentioned that day. When he passed away, on Facebook, under her picture of him, I wrote, I love that man. And I got a text. This is so antagonistic. This is so Uranus and Aries. I got a text like about 9:30 at night saying, don't you dare talk about him. You have nothing. She started screaming at me in the text. You're so full of shit, she said. And I was like, what? And then she said, I heard what you said that night when you talked. I don't know what she was talking about. Anyway, she attacked me. And I, in my wisdom, because this is what you learn in the star community, I took a deep breath. I got really hurt. One, I was grieving his loss. Two, someone was attacking me. I took a deep breath and I wrote her back and I said, you must be in pain because this is crazy. And please, take a moment and be kind. Then she wrote back and she was still very emotionally reactive. And then finally at the end, I said, you need to read what you just wrote. And I let it go. I wrote a few more things. A couple days went by and then she wrote me back and she said, oh my God, I'm sorry. And I watched my reaction. Like, I was so insulted and so hurt, still grieving about Bob, unbelievably insulted that she'd said what she'd said. And I had to work inside myself. Can I forgive her? Am I going to react to her? Do I make her pay for what she said? Do I repeat what she said? Do I hurt her? And it took me almost, like, I didn't write back, and I am the queen of texting. I did not write back. And then finally I heard my inner voice and I thought, this is the star community. Turn on your observer, Debra. You read about it, you write about it, you talk about it, do it. And I stepped in my helicopter, went off to Uranus, looked back and saw Debra, and I said, Deb got her feelings hurt. And by the way, people attacked me. One of my small personality traits, one of the side effects of my small personality, you may have noticed, I've got a small personality. That was a joke. Is that I'm visible and I'm raw and I'm exposed. And so people attack me. And I don't like defending myself, but I don't like fighting. My observer has a reaction. I've got Moon in Aries. I'm really good at woof. I'm never going to step away. And I did engage with her. But then I have Libra rising. Take a breath. And then I realized, you know what? She said she was sorry once. She said she was sorry twice. She left me a text message and she really apologized. And you know what I did? I said, gotcha. We're over it now. So this is an example of what happens in the star community. Is we have Pluto squaring Uranus. We have things in the planet right now. We have so much. The last 2 weeks, how many of you felt it? Like the last 4 or 5 days, the energy was so wild. But we have to get to our larger selves. And we can't, and I know Susie couldn't sleep the last 5 years, said Maria. Angel, it made me want to cry. It's been crazy, said Lorna. It's been crazy. So when, and some people feel the calm, good for you. So there are those of you that feel the calm, and I'm so proud of you. And then there's those of us that get reactive. I didn't stay long in my reaction. It didn't take me long to enter into my observer. That's what I want you to get from the star community. Every month, I'm going to give you the full moon and the new moon are basically dissertations on that flavor of that sign. So we're here to learn compassion. And that's what the full moon and the new moon, those two videos are all about compassion. I'm not going to judge. I'm not judging. Do you think I want to not judge whether it was people judging Obama from morning till night, whether it was people judging Trump, whether it was people judging Bush, whether it was people judging, we just judge. That's the nature of the beast. But if everyone in the star community had compassion, if we can create a tribe, that's my dream. Like, think of this community. It's $22 a month is not a lot of money. I don't know. Is that a lot of money? You guys tell me, does that sound like a reasonable price? It sounds reasonable to us. Yes, if we could spend $22 a month with a practice every single day, you're going to go on the Facebook page or you're going to go on the website and you're going to watch a video. And then there's going to be a tribe where we write to each other. And this is what the flavor of the tribe is. I'm sounding the tone. It took me a while to figure out that my life has been an example of evolution. I didn't come like this. I used to be extremely emotional. Sun in the eighth house. I've got a lot of Scorpio in me. I was extremely emotional. It wasn't overt, it was secretive, but I wouldn't talk, believe it or not. It took me years to learn that my missing element, believe it or not, was fire. I've got a lot of fire in my chart, but I was so self-conscious that I was so blunt and I was so honest and I had this big personality and why did I have to take up so much space? And each one of you have self-conscious parts of your trait in your chart. So just write down in your little words, what's some of the self-conscious parts of your personality that you know bug you, that you need insight about? Because that's what the star community is going to do. So give me an example. If you bargain, it's a bargain if you help us. The shrink costs $95 an hour. Insecurity, that's a great one. Your body image, that's a big one. The fear of being seen. Having patience, Kirsten. Not speaking up when I really want to. Boy, anxious. Too sensitive. Boy, have I heard that one. Stage fright. Nervous chatter. That, boy, being misunderstood. Using the incorrect words. The fear of being vulnerable. Following your path. Too passive. Being judged. Disappointment. Look at them all, you guys. Look at them all. Like there's 450 people here and everybody has something in them that's Tina, that's Tiza. So we're going to address all of these. You're going to evolve through your patterns because when it comes to your month, like if you go watch that Virgo video, everybody kept saying, well, I want you to do one for me because at the end of the Virgo video, I wish I had some water, but there's nobody here. At the end of the Virgo video, you learn to stop judging yourself. Never good enough. Astrology meets psychology. That's what we're doing in the star communities. This is not just one of those, like I listen to this astrology videos and I just think, oh my God, I don't know. I love listening to them for a little bit of time, but you got to really speak astrology. I'm going to speak English. Like the first thing we just talked about, Uranus and Pluto, you guys go and look at, here's your takeaway from this class. Oh boy. I just found someone to bring me a glass of water. Ask and you shall receive. In that Virgo video, you're going to learn, like in the Virgo video, how do you forgive yourself? Everybody has a story. It's healing. It's real healing. That's what this whole star community is. That's what I was saying. You know, when you watch those astrology videos and you're like, I don't know, even people that study astrology, they study it for years and years and years. Then they get cut off on the road and they give them the finger. You're like, you can study forever. And then somebody writes you a mean email and you don't think I wanted to like react and jump up and down and be mean. I caught myself. I practiced the observer. My emotional body used to implode on that stuff. I would have been so hurt. I didn't even tell anyone the story. I haven't even told my best friend the story. I decided that, you know what? It's so incidental. It was so much her pain. And she was sad that Bob had died, that she used me as her dumping ground, that why would I want to exploit that? Because it used to be I had to tell everybody everything. Yeah. I was going to say something, Lauren. I was going to say that the good news is we are going to heal. We're going to support each other in a star community. I'm going to tell my stories. You know what I love doing, you guys? One of my favorite things is reading your emails. You know, I'm a little Gemini, so I'm one, extremely nosy. I love human nature and I love listening to you. Two, I love to provide wisdom. So yes, you know, as the years have gone by, what I've realized, I kind of surprised myself as I reach 60 and go onward, that I have collected enough experience now that I can say confidently, like this morning doing yoga at 6 o'clock this morning, that I can confidently say to you without a question that if you do your practice, thank you, every day, if you do your practice every day, so whether that's meditating or yoga or going for a bike ride or eating healthy, you won't have to age. That's what we got from Dr. Northrup. Go watch that video, you guys. Dr. Northrup. So it says, it's 3 words, thestarcommunity.com/Dr. Northrup. That was such a great. To clean mountain water, I don't drink it from plastic. I drink it out of a glass bottle from the mountains. Unfortunately, this glass is plastic. That's funny. I miss my husband who died a few months ago. Cannot release feeling lost. He was the only one who knew me. A cancer man, Miss J. Oh, Elise, there's nothing harder in the whole world than the death of a partner, except for the death of a child. I can't take your pain away, but you can join the star community and be part of our family. I've been off my healthy life. Not sure why, said Carolyn. I know better, but I can't get in the groove. Why? Yeah, I'll tell you, that's so funny you say that, Carolyn, because that was so much of what I addressed in preparing for the month of the glance. We lose our juju because we lose our faith, and we lose our faith because we don't have a community, and we don't have a community because all you guys are weird. You can't be in the star community without being weird. So if you're weird, just say yes. A little unusual, a little different. Tara, you are not stuck. You're just not moving energy. Tara, you got to get up and start moving some energy. Are you a little weird? Someone said a little. Are you a little unusual? Better word. Are you, Elise, bless you. Sorry you're missing your earth partner. There are spirit partners, that's true. Uranus in the first house of Justina. Yeah, Justina, you are definitely unusual. I'm glad you understand me. You're right, I'm changing it to unique. I'm not like the rest of the kids. We never die, we're energy, but we sure miss those people when they're not here. I don't feel worthy enough to take care of myself. Listen, the star community is kind of like a New Year's resolution. Like if you want to join this community to get yourself motivated, to be able to feel like you're back in a community, like I'm going to be your new best friend. I have Jupiter in the 11th house. Jupiter's the planet of luck and joy. It's in the house of Aquarius and groups and technology. And I have a lot of room for a lot of people. Okay. Thank you, Lori, for being here and being so supportive. It's so nice. When you ask yourself, why do I feel this way? That is a silly question, Dan. You never use the word why in psychology, but when you wonder what is the issues that are preventing you from having your energy alive and kicking, it's because you're not mastering your sign. Once you get, this is really the short answer. I'm going to give you the short answer. You learn astrology. And if you can't afford my class, which is going to start again in January, it's $1,000 for the first class, then you sign up for $22 a month. And in each month, you're going to learn about that sign. And when you learn about that sign, you're going to look for the high road. And you're going to find out the negative and the high road. Master your sign, Jacqueline. You got it. You guys are so sweet. Yeah, I feel like the special early bird ends on the 22nd. So what is that? That is in 2 days. Uh-oh.
On Friday.
It ends on Friday, you guys. So on Friday, I guess you have 2 more days to do this at midnight on Friday. So you have all day Friday. So what you do is there's a landing page called the Star Community, and you get the whole year. It's 25% off. That's the deal. And then after that, we're going to just go to the $22. It's $197. And yes, you can pay it monthly, Angel. Yes, that's $22 a month. Land your spaceship. It's a great birthday present. Well, thank you, Terry, Patrick. Thank you all for being here. What would I do without you guys? I mean, my whole life has been devoted in the deepest, most sincere way, from everything that I put in my mouth to what I do in the morning, to how I take care of my kids, to how I take care of my car. I mean, it's really gotten stupid, but because I used to think that all the spiritual stuff meant that the mundane little things didn't matter. And that's not true. The mastery of being human is celebrating the human. That's not what spirituality often talks about. It's like you can meditate your life away, you can do yoga and be happy. Well, it requires everything from the way that you talk about yourself, to the way that you talk about other people, to the way that you react when you get a mean email from your mom or your dad, or when someone in your business is offensive. You're the leader. What I'm going to do is cultivate Star Community. I'm going to cultivate us to be a unified field. And you'll all meet each other, by the way. I want to have events in person. And we'll all meet each other and say, yep, I heard the tone of what Debra was saying. We have to be change agents, Secret Service workers. And when we get our buttons pushed, we have to know where the observer is. You've had my book for 2 months and still haven't read it. That's funny. Oh boy.
Debra, you want to get to the chart of today?
Oh, thank you. Yes, we're going to look at the chart today. Thanks, Tara, for appreciating my book. So this is what a chart looks like. Here's the example of an astrology chart. Some of you have never seen one before. This is a great example because they're so pretty. Okay, ready? Someone read the book 6 times, LG the Stylo. Okay, listen. This is the chart of today, September 20th at 1 o'clock in Boulder, where I'm sitting. So can you point to the sun, Carrie? The sun is right there on the top of the sky. Let's pretend all of us sitting today are in the middle of the chart. Well, that's where Debra's sitting. So I'm sitting right now on my bed, in my room, in my office. I used to be a prostitute and work in a bed, and I'm still working in the bed. Probably shouldn't say that, but I wasn't really a prostitute in this lifetime, but I've always been working in my bed. So there I am sitting in my bed in the middle of the chart. Right above my head right now, look, straight above my head is the sun and the moon, because it's a double Virgo. The sun and the moon are together. The moon just entered Libra about 3 or 4 hours ago, but the sun and the moon are together is the short answer. So the sun and the moon are standing together. It's right above my head. Look at that. Do that again, Carrie. There's where I'm sitting. So in Boulder right now, the sun is the top of the sky, and that is in the chart, that's a picture of the top of the sky. So that describes the highest part of the day. Look at that. It's so funny. The sun is in the 9th house, Carrie, right now, and we're talking philosophy. Is that funny? The 9th house is all about philosophy. So look at the 9th house. The middle of the circle, she's showing you the numbers. Each of these houses have a number. You can see all the way around. Start at 1, Carrie. There's the first house, the second house, the third house. This is just how this is pure science. The astronomer flattens the sky out, and they do 12 pieces of the sky. Somebody was really thinking when they made this. And so there's 4 planets right now at the top of the sky. If we could see with the telescope, the sun and Mercury and Mars, just keep going. There's Mercury. Mars is a little thing sticking out. Venus is that little symbol right there. 4 planets are in the 9th house right now. And go over there to Earth, to the little box, Carrie. So over here is the elements. You see on the side there, she's pointing at E. There's fire, and the very top is F. Air is there, earth is there, and water is there. Right now in the heavens, look at this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets in Earth. The MC is not a planet. Right now in the heavens, there's 5 planets in Earth, and we're having a practical conversation about joining the star community and making it Virgoized. How are we going to practically make a difference in the planet? How can I help you really make a difference? Right here. And then let's just look at Uranus just to have part of that. Oh, the big giant triangle. Can we show them the big giant blue triangle? That's 3 planets, all 120 degrees apart. And one of the planets is Uranus right there. That's all I'm going to tell you today. We've got a grand trine today in the heavens, and we have 4 planets in Virgo, and it's a perfect day to analyze the poop out of you. Okay, you can leave that little picture. I'd love to see my chat room because I like watching everybody. I like hearing what they're all saying, but the England one hit a star David today. Wow. 2 parents going through dementia and the whole world topsy-turvy hasn't been fun at all. I know, Daisy. It's just, this is why we have a community of people. for exactly that reason. Where is Daisy going to go to have fun? Oh, I know. She's going to turn on the Star Community. I'll tell you where to get them in Newfoundland. Just go to Amazon, you guys. Buy the book. If you don't want to pay the price for shipping on my website, where you can get them signed, you can get my book, The Missing Element, on my website. On the very front page, you have C. Sting endorsing the book. Lucky me. But if you want to buy the book from Amazon, click on Amazon. Just won't be signed by me. Trish Nichols, I know a minuscule amount of astrology, so I'm really opening up to a new perspective of how I look at things. Now I want to know how the elements, numbers, and astrology are trying to work with me. That's why you get my book, Trish. The sun's already set somewhere. Wow. All right. I think I've done it. Is there any other questions? I'm just going to scroll down. Transfixed by every word. My dream would be sitting next to you on a long haul flight. That's so fun. That's Nicola. That's so cute. My dream would be sitting next to you on a long haul flight. I once, about 2 months ago, sat next to a man who's a Virgo. We had a flight from LA to Hawaii, and we never stopped talking. It doesn't happen to me very often, but he was so interesting. I couldn't believe my good fortune to talk to someone who was so well thought. And he ate really well and he exercised every day. If you guys don't have motivation, let me help you get some motivation. The book can be applied to everyday life, said Jeanette Marie. I love it and recommend it to everyone. Thank you so much. That was a dream. Thank you for your time. Happy New Year's, you guys. It's a Jewish New Year's. When are the talks? What day of the week? Good question. Well, that's a very good question we haven't really discussed. When are we going to have the webinars in the STAR community? I don't think we're going to stop doing webinars for the people in general. I can't stop teaching. So, but I can't tell you the day because I'm a Gemini. Thank you for reawakening my interest in astrology. Pat K, you just gave me my life's purpose. That's why I'm here. Happy 5778. That's the year. 5778 is the new year in the the Hebrew calendar. 5778. Lishana Tova Tikatenu. That's Jewish for Happy New Year. Thank you, Joan Marshall. Joan, aren't you in our school? Thank you for all you do, Tracy, for reading my book. Makes me so happy. You know how long that book took me? I didn't think anybody was going to read it. It was kind of scary. Love your book, and we'll join the STAR community. You know why? When people talk to you and tell you their whole life story, because you probably have water in your chart. People always dump in the water. And thank Carrie too. Thank you for that, Carrie. Thank you so much. Tara, if you're stuck, Tara, you better call me. You know what, Tara? Don't call me. Go on my website, and under certified astrologers, there's a list of about, I don't know, 10 or 12 of them, and they're cheaper than me, but they're better than me. One, you can get into them. And two, they are so enthusiastic. They've learned from me, and I wouldn't certify them unless they were really good. So you guys, make sure you find out about the certified astrologers on Debra Silverman Astrology. We're going to have the STAR community on that website soon. We just haven't done it yet. Thank you, Margot. First time here. Oh, thank you. I wish I knew that was. I'm deleting my astro.com and joining STAR community. The Ancestry.com. That's so cool. Did you hear that? They're leaving Ancestry.com and coming to the STAR community because this is your real bloodline. And you can just, Michelle, you could get your chart read by one of my certified astrologers. They're so good. I'm being drawn to your community because of your wonderful daily readings. Great, Paula. That's exactly why I do them. All right. I think we got it, you guys. What do you think? I'm confused. Someone's joining us, Michelle. We're going to look for you, Michelle Lichner.
A lot of people are asking about the monthly option. So I just want to jump in and say right now we're doing a special founding members offer for $197 where you get a whole year. But the monthly option will come after that's done. So this weekend, if you're waiting for that, we will definitely send you an email.
Chris or Dan, when does that start? They can talk to me. When does the monthly option start?
It will start after Friday. So once this early bird option is done, then it will kick into effect right when the membership actually starts.
It says, join for $70 off before Friday. Is there a discount as a Star Community member for your courses? That's a really good question. I don't think so. But there is a discount if you've taken the course to become a Star Community member. And yes, Dan, is that true? That starting Friday or Saturday, they can start doing the $22 a month option? That's a yes. Okay, so $22 a month starting on Saturday. Samantha, why can't you join? Samantha, I think you should, I'd love to have some scholarships. Is PayPal all right, they're asking? Is that PayPal an option?
I don't think PayPal is an option yet. If you guys have any questions, write to membership@debrasilvermanastrology.com, and Miranda, who answers that, will be able to help with all of those questions.
You're welcome, Ruth Horner. Thank you for appreciating me. Miranda's just answered. She said no PayPal. This is so crazy. I'm getting texts in every direction. I would love to start a tarot community. Thank you very much, said Carmen. But first things first, Rick. Can we do one thing at a time? Dan said we're working on PayPal.
Maybe you could do a tarot video in the Star community at some point.
Yeah, or maybe I could do a tarot. I love tarot so much. A tarot reading for, someone should do a tarot community. That is a great idea. Colette Baron Reed has a community. That's the truth. We're sisters. 2 new founding members, whatever that means. Okay, my favorite deck. The deck that looks like the deck in Esalen that overlooks the Pacific. I know, you didn't mean that deck. All right. I think we're done. What do you think?
I think so too. Everybody go to the Star community.
You have till Friday to do it. Dun, da, da, dun, 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 dun. And then that'll be the last chance to do the 25% off. And then it's $22 a month. I think you all got it. Thanks, Carrie. We'll have trouble with the sub. Okay. Lots of love to all of you. Love, 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 love.